Do you want more respect? Would you like people to treat you with more respect? Getting others to treat you how you deserve to be treated actually has to start with you. It's very easy to fall into patterns, particularly if you've come out of an emotionally abusive relationship or you've been in a relationship with somebody who hasn't treated you well. And these relationships can manifest anywhere. They can manifest from our family, our siblings, our colleagues, our bosses, or our partners. But there is a way that you can change things around and get people to treat you with the respect that you deserve. In case you're joining me for the first time today, my name's Luanne Ward. I am a relationship and dating coach, as well as a professional matchmaker. For over 25 years, I've been helping people have healthy, heartfelt relationships with themselves and with others. Today, we're going to talk about 6 ways to get people to treat you how you want to be treated, to get people to treat you with respect. So let's jump straight into it. Number 1, you have to learn to say no. I'm not saying that you say no to everything. There are some times where you have to put yourself out for people. There are some times that you want to do something for somebody, even though you might be tired, even though you might have worked 12 hours, even though you want to relax on the weekend. Sometimes a friend, a partner, a family member needs you, and it's natural to say yes. But when you're a people pleaser and you go out of your way to help everybody, but then when you need help, you're not necessarily getting it back, and people lean on you and take your time and take your energy and leave you feeling depleted, that's when you have to start taking control and start saying no. As I said, saying no doesn't apply to every situation, but you know if you're one of those people that people pleasers. You know whether you're someone who goes out of their way to help other people but doesn't get that back in return. You know that you're the one that people rely on and you can't do enough to help someone else. But it's time to actually start learning that sometimes it's a yes and sometimes it's a no. And being brave enough to say no is your first step in getting respect. Number 2 is self-talk. How do you talk to yourself? What goes on inside your mind? Putting yourself down constantly for different things, whether you're running late and berating yourself for running late, giving yourself a hard time because you're eating the extra piece of chocolate cake, telling yourself, no, you couldn't possibly find somebody, no one could possibly love you. You're getting dressed and thinking, oh, I look too fat in this, or, oh, my skin is not looking good. Oh, gosh, you couldn't possibly go and learn to play tennis. No, you'll be hopeless. You've never been good at sport. What is your self-talk when you're alone? What goes on inside your head? You wouldn't say half the things you talk to yourself about to your friends, to your family, to your children, or to your partner. So it's time to start speaking to yourself kindly and pulling yourself up when you know you're talking negatively towards yourself. If you're the one that's constantly criticizing yourself, you can't expect other people to talk nicely to you. So if you're running late, do you berate yourself? Do you call yourself an idiot? If you lose your keys or you forget to do something, how do you speak to yourself? Do you put yourself down? Or do you say, hey, you know what? Sometimes I'm forgetful. Sometimes I'm running late, but that's okay. Everything always works out, because everything does always work out. And if you're running late for a meeting, or you've eaten that extra piece of cake that you didn't want to eat, or you've let somebody down, putting yourself down and constantly criticizing yourself isn't going to help. It's only going to perpetuate the problems. You wouldn't speak to your friends the way you speak to yourself. So next time you catch yourself with any sort of negative self-talk, ask yourself, would I speak to other people like this? Or is it only myself I'm speaking to like this? So learn to respect yourself more. Number 3, invest in people who invest in you. If you are the one that's actually doing all the work in a relationship, and you are the one that's putting in the effort, and people aren't investing back in you, they're not doing things back for you, you're always going to be accepting less than what you deserve. When you enter into a relationship, and we'll talk about a romantic relationship here, but it doesn't just apply to romantic relationships. If you are constantly the one that's making all the effort and there's a disparity, a polarization of how much you're doing and how much you're putting in compared to how much they are, this is not respect. So think about how much you are investing, and don't invest in people who don't invest back in you. If you are the last minute person and you're the last person that they call, or when they get on the phone and all they want to do is talk about themselves instead of asking about you, what I'm talking about is investing in the reality of the situation, not the fantasy of what it could be, but the reality of how it is. If you are constantly accepting less and you're investing in people's potential rather than in the reality of what they're giving, you are teaching people that it's okay for you to accept less and for them to accept more. So think about how much you are investing in people who want to invest in you to a similar or same degree. And if they don't, it's time for you to step back and step away from that, because you can't attract people that are going to treat you well if you're still accepting old patterns. Number 4, don't emotionally respond or react. If you're taking time to watch this video, your mindset is obviously that people aren't treating you as well as what you could be treated, and that you want more respect. You have to show people how to treat you. If you are responding emotionally and you're reacting from your past triggers, if you've been in an emotionally abusive relationship, people have, where you've been gaslighted, you've been emotionally manipulated, you've been putting up with passive aggressive behaviors, oftentimes it's easy to react to the triggers. And when the time comes where you've had enough, it's easy to let these triggers set off a reaction in you, and you'll respond in an emotional manner. If you're reacting in an emotional way, when somebody crosses the line with you, you're not going to command their respect. Being able to take a step backwards and removing yourself from that situation is the best way to respond. Now, for emotional abuse to happen, people have to get a reaction. If you stop reacting to the way people are treating you, they will soon get tired of treating you in a certain way. You can remove yourself from that situation very, very easily by not responding and not overreacting. And that brings us to number 5, which is healthy communication and not getting entangled in other people's dramas, not allowing them to entangle you or in their bullshit that they've got going on, or to project their negativity onto you. So when somebody else is projecting their bad mood onto you, they're criticizing, they're trying to get you entangled and embroiled in their drama, you need to take a step backwards and communicate effectively with them. And what that communication would look like is actually acknowledging when somebody's like that, it's them that's having a bad day. It's their problem that they've got going on. You don't have to make it your problem. And standing up for yourself and communicating effectively about where your boundaries are. I can recall circumstances in my own personal relationships where my partner might have been cranky about something, annoyed about something that's gone on at work, then he's come home and projected it on me, and I'm able to take a step backwards and say, hey, I can see that you're upset, I can see that you're annoyed. Why are you like this? We're not going to be able to solve anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow you some time and space to cool down, and I'm going to end this communication now so that we don't say things that one of us might regret. So I'm going to leave and give you some space. Now, by doing that, I set this standard of us not getting into arguments, of us actually recognizing and pulling each other up and saying, hey, you know what? That's actually not okay. I'm here to talk to you and I'm here to listen when you need me, but I'm not here to project. I'm not here to take on your stuff, and I'm not here for you to take out your bad moods on me. So it's actually okay to step away and give someone the space and not put yourself in the firing line. And that brings us to number 6, which is setting boundaries. And that is part of setting boundaries, of knowing where the line in the sand is. If you don't know where your line in the sand is and where the threshold is of what you're prepared to accept and what you're not prepared to accept, and people are constantly stepping over that boundary, you're teaching them that it's actually okay to do that. So you have to be very clear about where the boundaries are and where you're going to set the standard and draw that line in the sand. Boundaries can be anything. Boundaries can be how someone treats you, how they speak to you, the time frame in which they return your calls. If you are constantly investing in people that are overstepping the boundaries, you have to let them know what your standards are. If you're allowing people to give you less than what you deserve, to walk all over you, to not treat you with the kindness that you treat them, you send out the message, that's okay. So set your standard. Don't have unrealistic expectations on other people to perform the way you want them to perform or to do exactly what you want them to do. But you can have your boundaries. You can have your standards. And if somebody doesn't meet the basic standards of how you like to be treated, you need to be able to set those boundaries and walk away. There are 6 methods that you can use. And if you start using these methods, you'll be teaching people how it is that they get to treat you. Because nobody else gets to decide how you get to be treated, only you do. How somebody wants to treat somebody else, it's not your business. It's only your business how you get treated. And you can use those methods to have healthy, heartfelt connections and healthy, heartfelt relationships. The more that you put into yourself, the more that you'll get others to put into you. So next time somebody tries to gaslight you, treat you poorly, ignore you, give you the silent treatment, emotionally manipulate you, and act with passive-aggressive behaviours, just remember that you can actually use one of these 6 methods, or you use all of these 6 methods. And the more that you practice them and the more that you use them, the more they just become part of your daily life, and you will automatically command more respect from people. So I hope you found this useful. I would love to hear your comments, because any time where you have something to say, you're helping other people as well. So if you can think of a time where somebody has treated you with disrespect and how that felt and what you did to change, if you have any specific questions about what you can do in a particular circumstance, jot them below. I'd be very happy to answer any questions that you have. And if you want to learn more about how to spot the red flags in the early stages of a relationship, that you're not getting treated with respect and you're not investing in people that are going to be healthy for you, and that's 7 red flags to look out for in the early stages of going into a toxic relationship, or to question yourself about whether you're in a toxic relationship. So you can get the link for that video below, and I will look forward to seeing you all next week.